Welcome to 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews, where we take random movies from Metacritic's 15K Plus movies to randomly watch, whether we like it or not. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews. This is Colin.
And this is Niall.
And this is, as I just said, episode 9. And just before we get into our movie for this episode, I would like to regale on you all the ideas we have for the next 2 episodes, and actually they will be repeated every 10 episodes. So episode 10 is next episode, and we figured we would give ourselves a bit of a break and a bit of a chance to actually review it. Or get the odds stacked in our favor to get a good movie. So what we're going to do for every decade of episodes, so for episode 10, for next episode, we're going to pick a movie randomly, of course, still keeping our USP, but it's going to be the top 1,000 instead of 15,000 plus.
Feels like we're cheating a little bit now that we've just had one right in the middle of 1,000.
True.
And then we have another one. But I think that's just pure luck.
Oh yeah, it's the look of the randomness draw. So I think it's good. It kind of keeps us like looking forward to each decade of episodes, and it also makes us hone our reviewing skills for better movies. And as you will hear from this episode, there's a massive difference between a good movie and a mediocre movie.
This is not movie 43.
No. So that's episode 10 coming up next episode. So we'll pick the movie out of the top 1,000 at the end of this episode. And we figured then episode 11 and 21 and 31 and 41 and so on, we will just sit back, relax and review the previous 10 episodes. So every episode that ends in a 0 and ends in a 1 will be the same thing. Episode 10 will be between 1 and 1,000 random. And then episode 11 will be a review of all the movies we've watched, and it'll give us a chance just to sort of maybe give some movies a second chance in our brains, perhaps. Maybe movie 43 was not the car crash that it was to us on the first thought about it. But who knows?
That's not even a possibility, sorry.
No.
I'm just going to give out about it more. That's the plan.
Yeah, so even going back to Summer of Soul and Kisses and just figuring out, what do we remember for them and what made them what we sort of scored them as. So that's our plans for the next couple of episodes, and then repeated then for every 10 episodes from that. So this episode 9, we picked Birdman, which was number 465 on Metacritic's all-time movie list. It has a Metascore of 87 and a user score of 8.2. It runs for 119 minutes. It had a budget of 16.5 to 18 million. There was a kind of a ballpark figure there, and box office was 103.2 million. So it was pretty good there.
Some nice returns, all right.
Yeah, good return and well deserved. The director was Alejandro González Inarritu, and he's got some good movies in his back catalogue there. He's got 21 Grams, he's got Babel, and he's got The Revenant. So
one year after this movie, so that was that's high five, bang bang, 2 amazing movies, 2 Oscar-winning movies in a row.
Yeah, he hit a rich vein of form there. The cinematographer, which obviously is something to be lauded from this movie, was Emmanuel Lubezki, and he also did some good movies, Gravity, Children of Men, and Ali.
And The Revenant.
And The Revenant again, yeah. Yes. They obviously come as a pair. And I think another person that has to be mentioned in the background is Antonio Sanchez, the musician behind the soundtrack to this movie, which permeates throughout the entire movie and adds to the manic impression that the storyline presents us. The awards that they got for this, I think I just went, Oscar got Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Cinematography. and got Golden Globe for Mr. Keaton and the screenplay again. So
and there was Oscar nominations for both Mr. Keating and for Mr. Norton as well, deservedly. So I don't know who won that year, but I'm surprised they got beaten. They were quite good.
Yeah, 2014. Can't remember what. Probably some sort of Shakespeare in Love sort of thing. That what happened to Shawshank Redemption. So here we go. So let's move into the plot here. So it's such a deep movie that I figured that the broad plot, we'll just give a few seconds for the broad plot, and then we'll delve into sort of the first third, the middle third, and the final third, just to sort of kind of take you along by the hand through the movie and figure out what's going on in each one, because there's a lot to peel out through the layers, and there's a lot of things that happen. So the general plot is that Regan Thompson is a actor played by Keaton, and he has had in the 90s a bunch of superhero movies called Birdman become very popular, and he's very famous. What was it, 20 years later, this play he's trying to do? Probably 20 years.
20 years, I think, yeah.
Probably set in 2014 or so. So he's basically adapted a play, and he's directed it, and he's rewritten it. And basically this movie basically goes through his mental anguish at finding out who he is, and, has been, everything that he does, is it worthwhile? What are the perceptions of him? Is he respected? Is he validated?
To me, it's very much a raw feeling of imposter syndrome. Like he is there and he's doing all these things, and he kind of believes in his ability, but somewhere deep down he's also thinking, I'm not good enough for this, really, am I?
Yeah. So pretty much that's it in a nutshell, the general plot. So the first 40 or so minutes, it's about 120 minutes long, and, I'm not sort of going strictly every 40 minutes here, but I'm loosely based. The beginning of the movie, he's in the middle of it. You see him doing some things like turning off the TV with his mind in the changing room, and, you pretty much off the bat, you think he's delusional, man. He's in his head. He's living in the past. He's in the middle of trying to launch his play. Is he washed up? Along with this, he has this voice of the Birdman in his head. And,
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yeah, exactly.
Christian Bale as Batman.
Yeah. And it kind of plays the role of the voice of doubt and regret and questioning his ability to do what he's trying to do. So he's in this play, and it's the manic drum beat is happening, and cinematography is presented as a one-shot affair throughout the entire movie. You can obviously sense when it cuts, mechanically, but it's very, very hard
smooth. It is supremely smooth.
Yeah, worthy of its Oscar.
What I love about the cuts as well is it isn't a direct cut, it's 5 seconds later. It sometimes shifts to the next day, but it's the same scene.
Yeah.
You can't see the cut, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. So he starts off like they're obviously in the middle of all these previews. They're rehearsing. The actor, one of the actors gets hit in the head with a little stage light, and so in steps the savior, Mike Shiner, played by Edward Norton, and he comes in, and he's this, oh my god, like he's just one of these characters who is ultra confident and ultra aware of his abilities, and he's kind of playing, I don't know, it's hard whether Regan respects him or fears him or doubts his ability in contrast to him. But he comes in and he pretty much just mixes the pot even more.
Yeah. Well, I think at the start he looks at him and he's kind of in awe of his ability at the start.
Yeah.
Because like the first, while they're rehearsing the lines, he's just walked in and he remembers everything, and he remembers his lines and he remembers Regan's lines, and there's no issue there. And then he's suggesting new ways of going about pronouncing things and different emotions that he should be projecting. And Regan's like, wow, yes, he's the man.
Yeah.
He thinks this for a few minutes anyway, but that changes quickly.
Yeah. So it's just another element of turmoil and frenetic element to his life. And
that's a great word. And frenetic is this movie. It just does not stop.
No.
It really
And it's a
doesn't give you a
drum
second.
beat.
Yeah.
It's the drum beats, and it's the non-stop cinematography as well. So along with Mike Shiner coming along, he's got his daughter who's his assistant, who is a recovering drug addict. So that's another bit of anxiety there. He doesn't really get on with him. He doubts his past as a father. He pretty much realized he wasn't there. Yeah. And so I just remember a couple of things. He had a conversation with his daughter about relevancy in the first third, and one of the quotes that stood out to me was that Farrah Fawcett died the same day as Michael Jackson, and so it's like, and I remember the day Michael Jackson died, and I don't remember that Farrah Fawcett died in that same day. So it was
the same thing, and I think speaking of the daughter, like she said something that cut deep, because they had a fight because she was smoking pot or something downstairs in the theater. And I think the line was, a big screaming match, but she ends it with, "You're not important. Get used to it."
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty much a sort of a slap in the face for him. Yeah. His wife is in the background. She pops in around about the first third or second third of the movie, and she's another little element of turmoil in his life. And obviously he wasn't the best of husbands either. He threw a knife at her, and she broke up. She broke up with him. And so
there was something about sleeping with one of her friends as well that didn't help.
Right. Yeah. So all of this, like the first 40 minutes or so of the movie, is just absolute chaos for him. It's turmoil. It's just, and you're sitting sort of frantic with him as well, because it's just piling up. In the meantime, the actress, he's pretty much is portrayed as his girlfriend, states that she's pregnant. So that adds it to another level. And I love the way that when she did this, they were in the corridor and it was just purely red lit as well. And it's just sort of like just excellent sort of framing of the mood. And so, everything's just added up to this craziness. So we're moving towards then the previews and the run throughs of the movie gets going, and Mike Shiner starts becoming this even more horrendous character, and he does something that's kind of reminded me of the scene from Bedazzled.
Oh yes, with the police officer and the inappropriateness.
The first wish.
Yeah, at this point, I actually thought that was his sister. So I was kind of horrified, but a few seconds later, I was like, "Oh wait, that's his." That's his girlfriend. That's less terrific, but still terrible.
Yeah, so that all happens. That's this sort of sort of inappropriate, or basically inappropriate thing happens backstage just seconds before they're going on in a bedroom scene, and so that becomes a very, very salient point.
But what's important is that's like the second preview they did. The previous preview is where he has a freak out on stage because Regan has replaced his gin with water.
And
he thinks it's important to be drinking in the scene, and he has to be drinking real alcohol because the character's drunk.
Yeah.
Which, it's not great.
No. And so, so that's just, again, ramping up the craziness that's going on. And so, he has this sort of incident, and then so obviously Naomi Watts' character, who is Leslie, the actress, she kind of breaks down in the dressing room, and Regan just gives her a bit of support in that one. And
so, what did you think about that? That was one thing I found possibly superfluous, was that just after that, Regan's girlfriend / actress, they have a romantic moment together. Not Regan, but
it's Leslie and Laura.
Leslie, I'm not sure how. That's the one scene I'm not sure that fit, because it didn't really add anything.
No, it didn't really add anything, but it also added a little bit more
chaos, maybe.
Chaos. Yeah, it was just like, oh my god, like what's going to happen now with this relationship?
I think that didn't impact on poor Regan's state of mind, because he never hears about it. It doesn't impact the story.
But, no, he didn't see that one, but he saw something else later on.
Oh yeah, what's that?
At this point in time, which kind of links to now, because now Mike Shiner and Sam, his daughter, meet outside on the rooftop, and they have a sort of a back and forth. He's being a little, I don't know, he's dancing around, sort of flirting, semi-flirting, but being a bit of an artisan as well, play a bit of truth or there. And I think one of the sentences or one of the things that Mike, the Edward Norton's character, says after truth, he says, I would like to take the eyes out of your skull and see the world from your eyes at your age. It was just like, it was that sort of running theme of regret and maybe not seeing things in depth or living in the moment when you were young, you know.
And it's an interesting sort of juxtaposition of like, up until that line, he doesn't show any insecurity. And he only shows insecurity to Sam, actually, in this movie. Like, because in that same scene, he talks about his erectile dysfunction anywhere but on the stage. Because she hits on him and says, let's go somewhere and, you know, fool around. And he says, sorry, can't do that. And she says, true to there again. And she asks why. And he says, well, can't get it up, effectively. And I liked, while their relationship's kind of vastly inappropriate, I kind of liked it as well. It's Edward's only real emotion that isn't just being a jerk. Yeah,
I think it's a good little sort of aside of who else he is, other than this weirdo, artistic, skilled actor, basically. So this is the part where, so they have they get bad reviews in the press for one of the previews. It turns out that Laura is not pregnant. Then Mike basically, Mike steals Regan's backstory of why he did this play, and that's put into into a newspaper article. So they have this amazing verbal and then physical fight.
That's a fantastic scene.
Yeah, it's one of the highlights of the.
It's both ridiculous and real at the same time.
Yeah, there's people just staring at them, going, "What the hell are they doing?" And after that, I think there's another massive turning point of the movie where basically straight after the fight, he goes in and just wrecks his dressing room. Has a bit of a breakdown.
With telekinesis.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, it never explains it. Nobody else ever sees this, which I love.
No. Yeah. Yeah. And so, I think Naomi Watts' character, Leslie, comes in after that, settles him down and thanks him very grateful for his support. And then, I think after that,
Zach kind of pulls him back online though, while lying to him. Zach playing Jack.
Jake.
Jake. And that's, Zach Galifianakis. That's that lad. But he basically says Scorsese's going to be at the premiere. So, you know, we've got great reviews, full house, people are lining up. You've made it. And it brings Regan back down again. Brings him from the precipice of complete and utter self-destruction. Yeah.
So this is like in between one of the previews and then the second preview. And I think before the second preview, Mike has another scene out on the roof with Sam, and you know he tells her she's special, and they kiss at some point. And so then the second preview happens. Regan's waiting to go on stage, and he sees Mike and Sam kissing backstage, and that adds another level of chaos to his mind. And so he goes outside.
This is brilliant.
Dressing
with a cigarette in his dressing gown, yeah.
And he's locked outside, and that's one of the highlights of the movie. He's locked outside.
What's important is that the dressing gown gets caught in the door, and he cannot get it off the door jam. So he's got only one option. So it's beautiful. It's an amazing scene.
It's a great scene.
Times Square in his tidy whities.
And so one thing I did notice about this was that he was being noticed. And he was being noticed at his most vulnerable and at the most bizarre sort of sequence in his life. You know, perhaps if he was just being a normal person in normal clothing, nobody would give him the time of day. He is noticed a couple of times during the movie, but it's a sort of weird sort of fan that are and that their children are asking them, who is that? He played Birdman in the 90s or whatever.
Who?
So he's running through. It's another chaotic scene. He's running through the Times Square, goes in, and it does an amazing sort of entrance.
He uses it. He doesn't try and slink in to the
exactly.
Theater. He kicks the door open effectively, because he's supposed to in the scene kick the door open. So he kicks the door open of the theater and starts shouting straight away in character, and it's great. It's just fantastically done.
It is. And so you're kind of into then the final third of the movie, and it's. I think maybe the point of the final third is when his daughter goes, "Yeah, you're viral now," and it's because you just ran through his Times Square in your underwear.
Says, this is power. You've 80 or so many thousand people have seen you in 20 minutes. This is real power. This is influence. And he's like, oh, really?
And so he has a bit of a good moment, but then of course nothing stays happy for him forever. So he's got this Miss Dickinson critical agent.
Oh,
and
she's
he meets her. He meets her in the bar, and basically she goes, "I hate you. I'm going to kill your play." Yeah. And so that sort of brings him over the edge, and it's one of the most delusional areas of the movie that happens next. He basically gets drunk.
Absolutely, buys a bottle of whiskey, and
which, by the way, the Fairy Light liquor store is just beautiful,
isn't it? That's just like it's a fairy tale liquor store. Like, what more do you want in life?
Yeah. So he basically wakes up the next day and starts flying around, and it's bizarre and beautiful and amazing.
Yeah.
Birdman gives him a pep talk. You
can see, like, he's experiencing proper freedom, and his cares are gone. It's just lovely.
Yeah, and it's a physical flight, but it's also a metaphorical flight as well. I'm guessing but what I love about it is when after all the delusion is sort of done, he comes down and lands on the street in front of the theater. He runs in. And the taxi driver runs after him and goes, "Hey, pay your fare." So it's like totally then the audience, we know that, that wasn't real. He's just a delusional crackpot really breaking under the stress here. And so it's then the first night of the play then, and he's backstage with his wife in a kind of a tender, emotional moment, and it's
what I found important at this point, because he was very calm, which, that's when I thought, oh, that's bad. He's getting
right,
He's nothing to worry about. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, it's bad omens for sort of a whacked out mind, and then when he takes the gun off the top shelf, there's a bit of weight to that gun. Yeah, but it's not like the plastic gun with the red thing in the barrel as Mike was suggesting to him earlier.
This doesn't scare me at all. It has to be real. Have some respect for your art.
Yeah. So we're getting into the sort of end of the movie here, and obviously spoiler alert, because I think with good movies, I think we need to probably alert people to spoilers, because I don't really care if I give you a spoiler to movie 43 or anything, or Stick or whatever. So, near the end, he basically does that scene where he kills himself in the play, but he actually has a real gun, and he goes ahead and shoots himself in the head with a real gun, and everything turns to black, and it cuts to the hospital recovery bed, and his wife and daughter are there, and he actually looks like Birdman with the bandages on his face. That's what
it's just beautifully done.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the final scene is where he goes into the bathroom and he removes the bandage, and it's like a rebirth. Or he's becoming basically Birdman. He's accepting. Well, this is my take. You can poop on it if you want, but he's kind of accepting, his old career, and Birdman is definitely part of it, and he can't just ignore it. But in the background, Birdman's sitting on the toilet, going for number twos, and. They don't acknowledge each other. There's maybe a little nod, and that's it. But I'll let you continue. Sorry, I just love that piece so much.
No, that's a good piece. No, it all ties in together, because I think the last line of the movie that he says is "bye bye" and "f*** you," and he jumps out the window.
Yeah.
And his daughter comes in, and this is the ambiguous ending that everybody has their own idea on. His daughter comes in, goes, "Dad, where are you?" She rushes to the window, looks out, looks down, nothing, then looks slightly up and smiles.
Yes.
Roll credits. So what's your take on the ambiguous ending?
There's a few ways of taking it, but the way I choose to take it is the one that makes me happiest. Is, quite frankly, the whole way through the movie, all of these pieces where he's, moving stuff with his mind, where he's flying. Perhaps some of it's real. It's a surrealist movie, so I'm going to go with he's not splattered on the pavement 20 floors beneath. He's either that or he's hanging off a flagpole. because the smile you see in the daughter's face, you won't get unless she's also having a paranoid episode.
I think he doesn't fly and he doesn't jump out, or he's somewhere. I think he might have gone onto the ledge and stepped to the left or the right or something. And I think the daughter's reaction is just another delusional part, because there is a time when he's flying in the major delusional section where people are sort of reacting to it, and it's all part of the delusion. Nobody sees him flying because he's in a taxi. So I think the daughter reacting is a part of the delusion. I think he's fine and he'll be fine, and it's a nice ending.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons I don't think he's dead is because if it is his delusion, he can't have a delusion 2 minutes after being dead. He's either splattered in the pavement or he's alive somewhere. That's my take. True. That's what I'd like to think anyway.
Yeah.
Because
we're going for happy.
Yeah. Because he didn't have a good time of it, did he, the poor chap?
No, it's a movie of turmoil, stress, thinking about past success and not having success, and really just trying to get back to that level of success that you once had, and nobody working with you to get there, pretty much. Or it feels like nobody's working with you to get there.
I think there's an element of he's the trade-off between success and art. You can be a success and be a massive Hollywood blockbuster actor, or you can tread the boards in Broadway. And the scene with the critic where she just takes him apart slowly because he's not a Broadway actor. He's a Hollywood guy, so obviously he's crap. Doesn't give him a chance. And it's the same thing that's going on in his head, but she says it out loud.
Yeah. She's the physical manifestation of his doubts.
Yeah.
So here's the deal: the plot scores out of 5. So, I think the plot is great. I think it's 3.75. Great. I think it's not. I think the acting and the cinematography and the edit and the production ramps it up a whole lot. But I think it's 3.75, and obviously that's not a bad score, but I'm just sort of maybe predicting people's going, why aren't you giving it higher? Anyway, what did you score it?
I gave it 4.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah, because the plot, it isn't all that unique. It's well done, and the acting and the cinematography around it are amazing. It's a man's struggle with his own mental health and trying to be a success.
Yeah.
It's not new. It's done very well, though.
Yeah. Anyway, they're good. They're good scores out of 5. Let's quickly move on to acting, because I think we've gone through quite a lot of what we've seen in this. Obviously Michael Keaton. It's quite coincidental that we've come across a movie of his, because he's pretty much in the news quite recently with showing up as Batman again, not Birdman, Batman in The Flash. And also rumours of Beetlejuice 2 coming out. So obviously Michael Keaton, you can't go wrong with Michael Keaton. He's
got such tremendous range as well, though, because he can do a blockbuster movie like Batman and Beetlejuice, and then he can do this.
Yeah,
and he just does both perfectly.
One thing I noted here: every wrinkle he had in his face was acting. That's one thing I noted down. Just every wrinkle he had was just doing its job. So good.
That's such a beautiful way of putting it. And it's true. His whole face
Yeah.
is emoting,
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
You know what? I saw Naomi Watts once in a movie about the Thailand tsunami. I think it's called The Impossible. She was terrible in that movie. And in this movie, she's fine. She's great. I didn't have an issue with her.
She's good in this, yeah. I think I've only seen her in King Kong, which is okay.
She's in quite a lot of movies, but she kind of blends into a lot of them. Edward Norton, of course, he plays a very understated, like only he can do, but what a character.
Like that's, to be honest, there's very few movies with Edward Norton that you don't think, wow, he's done a great job there.
Yeah, true. Yeah. His character kind of goes to a certain point and then it ends, and that's fine because he plays his part in just railroading and
in the last part of the movie, he's no longer important, really.
Yeah. It's all about Regan's culminating act, for want of a better word. Everyone else, Zach Galifianakis plays the... I
thought surprisingly good. I seen his name and I was like, oh, really? No, he was very good in it. I think you may have mentioned to me before, he kind of plays himself.
He does, yeah.
But he's a toned-down version of what you normally see in the movies.
True.
It's not a comedy act. It's funny, but it's not over the top.
Yeah. Emma Stone is great as the daughter, Sam.
Very likable, very, relatable. She's very good. She's always good as well.
True. Andrea Riseborough, who I don't really know that well, plays Laura.
Couldn't really find much on her either. No. So
the wife, Sylvia, is played by Amy Ryan, and I just took note of this because she's actually starring in one of Joaquin Phoenix's latest movies, which I hear is really weird. Beau is Afraid. So I want to watch that soon because I hear it's
Joaquin as well.
Yeah, so it's totally weird. Anyway, so I gave acting 4.5 out of 5 because it was great.
You copied me. That's what I gave.
Excellent.
It's very hard to give that 5.5. I have 5.0.
Yeah.
5.5.
Yeah. No, it was great, and it was a pleasure to watch good acting for the first time in 9 movies.
Very true.
Yeah. Soundtrack is a bunch of drum beats that just adds to the chaos of the movie, and it's really great. He couldn't be nominated for an Oscar because the soundtrack has snippets or inclusions of classical music. So for that technicality, he could not get nominated for the Oscar, which is crazy.
Yep.
So I wrote down here, all the manic drum beats are like the synapses firing wildly. It's it just adds to your heartbeat and your blood pressure.
Like it sets it's like a metronome to his mental state. And when it's going fast and it's thumping, he's in a bad way, and just everything's going to crap around it, and it just fits perfectly.
Yeah, I think it reminded me of being stressed out watching Dunkirk and the constant ticking that's Christopher Nolan movie, right? Dunkirk.
I think so.
Yeah, he has that ticking motif that he has in a lot of his movies, but it just reminded me of that. I gave the soundtrack 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was excellent, but it did its job.
I went with 4 because I absolutely adored it. I thought it was great. It's an important character in the movie. It without it, I don't think the movie would have the same punch. So I went with 4. It's not a soundtrack you could buy and listen to outside of the movie. It would be awful.
No.
But in the movie, amazing.
Yeah. So, like production, our last part where we review it, we've mentioned a lot in talking about the plot. We mentioned production, the constant moving camera backstage. It just adds to the manic organization of a play. The lighting is excellent. One scene blends into another. The delusional craziness in the final third, where there's helicopters going into buildings and missiles and big crazy,
it's absolutely crazy
birds. Yeah. Like all of it, I gave the production 4.5 out of 5. I know probably people want us to delve deeper into production, probably, but I think talking about the plot and talking about the different things that happen in the plot really sort of, it tells you what you need to know about the production. There's not a lot of extra things there. I think one of my friends who listens to the podcast and heard that we're doing Birdman said that I think they were trying to dissuade the cinematography dude from
Yeah.
doing the sort of one-shot approach. Or the
I
perception.
think they failed to dissuade him because it is,
Yeah.
well, while not unique, it is amazing. It's so well done.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
I give it 4.5 out as well.
Yeah.
Simply because it's just smooth and it lends to the frenetic feeling, as you said earlier. Like, it's just non-stop. The audience isn't given the chance to relax.
Yeah.
And that's
You're along
important.
for the ride.
Yeah.
You're along for the ride with Regan Thompson. And that's why the movie is successful, because it makes you be along for the ride. You're walking with him in your underwear in Times Square.
Not again.
No, yeah. Locked out of your hotel room. Nightmare scenario. Is there anything else that we have forgot to mention in that? Because I'm sure that we'll wake up tomorrow and go, I didn't mention that one. But I've gone through all my notes here, and I think...
Oh, there's one thing I actually find quite interesting in reading some of the trivia about the movie, that in a normal Hollywood production, or a normally big budget production, editing a movie would take a considerable amount of time. This movie took 2 weeks.
Oh.
And it took 2 weeks because they filmed it sequentially. And then the pieces just slotted together. So
that's interesting.
Post-production was a very simple affair because of the way they filmed it. Now, the filming must have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
But after the filming was done, it just slotted together.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear that. Just going here for the top review that Metacritic has, Zachary Shevik in We Got This Covered says, led by fantastic Michael Keaton, Birdman is a deeply thoughtful and darkly hilarious meta dissection of egotism that satirizes the entertainment business with a compelling visual style that is all its own. That's quite nice.
Cannot disagree with any of that.
Yeah. And there's some idiot from The Observer called Rex Reed who gave it 25 out of 100. An unrecognizable Michael Keaton seems to have aged 40 years since the last time he appeared on the screen. What the hell does that mean? But he's still the best, i.e. only reason to suffer through a miserable load of deranged, deluded crap masquerading as a black comedy called Birdman.
Clearly he didn't understand what the hell was going on. So
no, poor Rex Reed. He doesn't know what is going on. So that has put a sort of an underline under Birdman, a very very good experience to actually watch a good movie for once.
Yeah, it wasn't a chore at all.
No, not at all.
My first time seeing it, and I'm delighted to have the chance to watch it as part of this.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, and that's why we're doing this. It's not for the bad movies, it's for the good movies that we may not have watched. All right, so as we said before, episode 10 will be a random movie from the top 1,000, so I will roll the dice, and here we go. Oh, it's quite close to Birdman. It's 487.
Ooh.
Yeah, so let's find that one. Right down at the bottom, 487. I do not know this. It's from 2022. It's our first sort of foreign movie. It's a movie called A Night of Knowing Nothing. It's got a Metascore of 87 and a user score of 7.6. Through fictional No, it's Indian, I believe.
Oh.
Through fictional love letters found in a cupboard at the Film and Television Institute of India, we meet Elle, a film student, writing to her strange lover while he is away. Gradually, we're immersed in the drastic changes taking place at the school and in the lives of young people across the country as they take to the streets to protest widespread discrimination. It's actually a documentary.
Oh, documentary. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we end off our top 10 the same way we started, with a documentary.
And a high-ranked one as well. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's fine. That's poetic and metaphysical and mental and theoretical and whatever. Things. All those skills, yeah. Great, so that's the end of episode 9 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews. We will see you on episode 10. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.